Good morning, dear students. Today we shall begin with the sixth part of the chapter Demand. In the previous part, you had studied about the movement along the demand curve. There were two types of movement, that is upward movement and downward movement. And the reason behind these movement were change in the own price of the commodity. So today we shall study about shift in demand curve, which is also known as change in demand. When the demand of a commodity changes due to change in any factor other than the own price of the commodity, it is known as change in demand. Change in other factors lead to shift in demand curve. So, in the previous class, you have already studied that due to change in the own price of the commodity, movements along the demand curve take place, but there are various other determinants of demand as well apart from the own price of the commodity. And due to changes in all those other determinants, other factors, this shift in demand curve takes place. And always remember, whenever there is a favorable change in demand, then there will be a rightward shift, and whenever there is an unfavorable change in demand, there will be a leftward shift in demand curve. So the various reasons for shift in demand curve are as follows. The first one is change in price of substitute goods. So suppose tea and coffee, these are two substitute goods. Whenever there is a rise in the price of tea, there will be a fall in the demand of tea, and there will be a rise in the demand of coffee, and vice versa. The second reason is change in price of complementary goods. So car and petrol are complementary goods. If there is an increase in the price of petrol, for the time being, consumers might not prefer to purchase cars, and as a result, there will be a decrease in the demand of car. The third one is change in income of consumers. Whenever the income of consumer rises, there will be an increase in the demand. There will be a rightward shift in the demand curve. The next one is change in taste and preferences. If a consumer prefers a particular commodity, they are going to demand more of that particular product. The fifth one is expectation of change in price in future. If the consumers expect that price of a particular product is going to rise in near future, they might purchase more of that commodity in present even at the same price. And it is vice versa. If they assume that price of a particular product is going to fall in near future, they might completely stop demanding that product in present, thinking that they will be purchasing it in future. The next is change in population. Change in population means that if there is more number of people in a country, there will be more demand. And if there are less number of people in a country, there will be less demand. And it also means that if in a country there are more number of youngsters, then the product related to youngsters will be sold more. The demand for those products will be more as compared to others. Next is change in distribution of income. If money is concentrated in few people in the economy, then the demand for the product will not be much. But if there is an equitable distribution of money in the economy, the demand for the product will rise. The last one is change in season and weather. During winter season, even at a high price, people purchase more of woolen products. And during rainy season, they purchase more of umbrella. They do not wait for the price to be lower. They purchase at the current rate. The following graph shows that demand for the commodity is OQ at a price of OP. Change in other factors lead to rightward or leftward shift in demand curve. Rightward shift when demand rises from OQ to OQ1, known as increase in demand, at the same price of OP, it leads to a rightward shift in demand curve from D to D1. So the other type of shift is leftward shift. On the other hand, fall in demand from OQ to OQ2, known as decrease in demand at the same price of OP, leads to a leftward shift in demand curve from D to D2. So in this graph, you can see that there are two types of shifts that have been shown. Whenever there is a favorable change, there will be a rightward shift. As you can see, the price is same, that is OP, but the quantity demanded has increased from OQ to OQ1. And whenever there is an unfavorable change in demand, then there is a leftward shift, that is from OQ to OQ2. And you need to denote this change with dotted lines and an arrow. It has to be there. Increase in demand. Increase in demand refers to a rise in the demand of a commodity caused due to any factor other than the own price of the commodity. In this case, demand rises at the same price or demand remains the same even at a higher price. So they are saying that whenever there is a change in other factors due to rise in, it leads to rise in demand, and as a result there will be a rightward shift of the demand curve. That rightward shift can be either because of rise in demand at same price, or also when the demand remains same at a higher price. So there is this example that is mentioned over here. For example, suppose a research reveals that people who regularly eat green vegetables live longer. This will rise the demand for green vegetables even at the same price, and it will shift the demand curve of vegetables towards right. So over here there is this table and a graph. In this table you can see that the price is same, but there is an increase in demand from 100 to 150 due to change in other factors, or rather favorable change in other factors, and as a result the demand curve shifts from D to D1. As seen in the given schedule and diagram, demand rises from 100 units to 150 units at the same price of rupees 20, resulting in rightward shift in the demand curve from D to D1. Next is decrease in demand. Decrease in demand refers to a fall in the demand of a commodity caused due to any factor other than the own price of the commodity. In this case, demand falls at the same price or demand remains same even at lower price. It leads to a leftward shift in the demand curve. So leftward shift is caused either when demand falls at the same price or when demand remains the same even when the price has lowered. So as you can see over here in this table, the price is same but demand has decreased from 100 to 70, and as a result demand curve shifts from its place, and the change is denoted by dotted lines. So as seen in the given schedule and diagram, demand falls from 100 units to 70 units at same price of rupees 20, resulting a leftward shift in the demand curve from D to D1. So today we have studied about change in demand which occurs due to change in factors other than price, and it leads to shift in demand curve. Either a rightward shift is there or a leftward shift. Rightward shift is known as increase in demand, and it is caused due to favorable changes in other factors at the same price. Leftward shift is known as decrease in demand, which is caused due to unfavorable changes in other factors at the same price. So these are few assignment questions. The first one is differentiate between extension of demand and increase in demand. So now you have studied about extension of demand and increase in demand both. So you need to write 3 points of differentiation. The second question is, what is the difference between contraction of demand and decrease in demand? Again, you will have to write 3 points in tabular manner. The third question is, give one reason why more of a commodity is demanded even when own price of the commodity happens to rise. Support your answer with an example. So you are supposed to think of one situation or one particular product where the demand rises even when the price is rising, and you need to explain that entire whatever you have thought of. You need to give that reason and you need to explain it through an example. So that is it for today. Thank you.